I'm Peter Lape. I'm the Curator of Archaeology at the Burke Museum. I'm an archaeologist. I'm here with Dr. Bob Copperell, who's a colleague of mine, archaeologist who works in the Puget Sound area.
We're on the west bank of the Duwamish River, what today is about 2 miles or so from the current mouth of the Duwamish River. This was a very productive delta environment with many different kinds of habitats. Lots of different kinds of food was available in the uplands behind the park, in the river, in an extensive network of riparian marshes, wetland marshes, in the open water of Elliott Bay, and the valley itself. And a lot has happened since then. A lot of things natural as well as artificial.
What you're looking at now is you see one last remnant of Duwamish River marshes, but there were many, many square miles of tide flats, river marsh that were almost completely destroyed. The river was channelized and dredged. The dredged spoils were dumped onto the marsh to make dry land, to build factories, shipping terminals, the stuff that you see today. So all of this industrial heartland with Boeing factories, cement plants, steel mills, shipping terminals, was all built on this former marsh.
With shell middens, the advantage of this is that you get very good preservation. You can create a very fine-grained mosaic of what people ate. There are the usual suspects that we find in the archaeological record: deer, shellfish, occasionally camas bulbs and things like that. But we find many other species of plants and animals as well that often don't get thought of. The kinds of marine fish living in Elliott Bay and the open waters of Puget Sound are found in these shell middens.
What we have in the archaeology is a record going back now in this area back over 10,000 years of what people ate, where they lived, what tools they used. I think there's going to be things in that record that have been lost to memory. And what I've also found is that those memories may not be totally lost, but they're not on the surface. And when an elder looks at a archaeological site report and sees a list of foods, it reminds that person of things that they hadn't thought about for years in their life. It brings it back. It's a place to have a conversation. Ideally, archaeologists, Native American archaeologists would work together to do the analysis of these sites, to actually ask the questions of the archaeology so that it is relevant for Native people today. I think in the past, a lot of archaeology hasn't been that relevant to Native peoples, and that's just a waste. There's no reason to do that.
I think one of the great things that the archaeological record tells us is that although access to a lot of these kinds of foods has changed, and some kinds of food aren't available anymore in some places. The habitats have changed, species become extirpated. There is such a variety of food shown in the archaeological record, and people are so adaptable that I think it shows that we're very likely to have access to a healthy diet in the future from native foods.